Hi, everyone. This is going to be the Yo Soy interview. And we have our interviewees here, and we're going to start our questions.
My name is Eddie Landeros.
Nationality.
I'm from America. Yes, I'm
Okay,
Hispanic
perfect.
American.
Hispanic American. Okay, and what if you would like to share more of like that background? What are your parents' nationalities?
Yes. So my parents are both. They were born in America. I think I'm fourth or fifth generation, but originally from Mexico. But I'm basically full Mexican as far as my ethnicity.
Okay, thank you. All right, so for the next question, major and graduation year.
My major is communications with a concentration in advertising, and my graduation year is 2022.
What schools do you plan on applying to? But since you already graduated from MSJC, tell us a little bit more of what schools did you apply to when you were transferring?
Yes. So I applied to Cal State Fullerton, Cal State San Marcos, and Cal State San Bernardino. And my top pick was Cal State Fullerton at the time because of the programs they had. So
Okay, thank you for sharing. Okay, so my next question is, what does being Hispanic mean to you?
being Hispanic to me means like heritage and culture. Being both Hispanic and an American, it's just it's a sense of duality and just kind of a sense of humility. Knowing that there's so many different ways that you could be Hispanic or Latino, so many different ways that you could be American, and it's really helped open my eyes up to the different stories that people have.
Do you think that being Hispanic has brought you any benefits throughout your educational goals?
As far as in the institutions, no, I don't. But that's mainly because I never took advantage of the programs. And I am 27 now. So it's just been different as far as when I started seeing like the benefits for Hispanics or Hispanic Americans. But I haven't benefited personally, no.
Okay. Do you think that there are more opportunities for Hispanics in the educational system now than in the previous years? Meaning, if you feel there are enough programs provided in schools for Hispanics to navigate throughout college, and what programs have you benefited from? But I believe you said you haven't.
Yeah, I haven't benefited from any programs, but I do believe that there's so much more available today than there was before. When I was getting out of high school, I chose the military as my go-to because I didn't know what scholarships I'd be able to get going out of high school because it didn't seem like there were scholarships available in that sense. But now seeing going to MSJC, seeing those programs, I do think that it's looking good for not only Hispanic Americans, but for other minority groups.
Definitely. So, throughout the years, it has definitely changed.
Absolutely.
This year was the highest acceptance rates for Hispanics in four-year institutions. How do you feel about that?
I think that's really cool. I'm happy to see that. I hope that means more representation within our faculty and staff as we go along, and also with our leadership in government, city councils. So yeah, that makes me proud to be Hispanic for sure.
Perfect. Tell us about your story. What shaped your identity as a Hispanic?
So like I said, I've been an American my whole life, and my family has been American, um, and but we do identify with Hispanic and with Latino. My great grandparents came from Mexico in 1900s, and we've been in the States, like California, New Mexico, since then. So I can really identify with just both backgrounds. I don't speak Spanish personally, so I kind of blend in with both American culture and Hispanic culture in that sense. So it's been really, it could be confusing at times, to find out like who you identify with, who will accept you. But I also think in that sense, I've been able to adapt more to the environment around me and just get to know people for who they are, because I understand that like you don't necessarily have to speak Spanish to be Hispanic. You don't have to necessarily be like white or another different race for to be American. So I've just really been trying to ask people like everything I can, just to see their backgrounds and just be humble with the world. So that's what Hispanic really refers to me. It's community, it's family.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Eddie.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
My name is Jesus Alcala Avalos, and my nationality is Mexican. I got my communications degree from Mount San Jacinto College, and I plan to apply to Azusa Pacific or San Bernardino College. I'd prefer San Bernardino College because a lot of my professors came from that school, so I'm mainly just following their footsteps. I mainly just want to follow in their footsteps, and hey, it worked out for them. So
Yes. All right. So what does being Hispanic mean to you?
for me, Hispanic is a culture and a place of origin. It it's the it's the background that my family has shared with me, and it's the fact that I have family members in Mexico that I go to visit every once in a while.
Okay. Do you think that being Hispanic has brought you any benefits throughout your educational goals?
Throughout my educational goals, I would say no, because I have not taken advantage of a lot of the programs that are available for Hispanics.
Do you think that being Hispanic has brought you, I'm sorry, I repeated the same question. Do you think that there are more opportunities for Hispanics in the educational system now than in the previous years? Meaning if you feel there are enough programs provided in schools for Hispanics to navigate throughout college, and what programs have you benefited from?
I have, as I stated earlier, I have not benefited from those programs, but as a member of the Talon, I have interviewed several of the directors of those programs. So I do know that there's been a greater push to serve the Hispanic community in recent years than before. So I can say I do know about those programs, but I just haven't taken advantage of them.
This year was the highest acceptance rates for Hispanics in four-year institutions. How do you feel about that?
Well, I feel good about anyone getting accepted into their four-year university, uh, but it's especially good that Hispanics are, because that means that um, like I said, it's just those people want to go to those schools too. So the more people that get accepted into their 4 year, I think it's better overall. I just hope there's enough teachers for them.
Yeah. So that's where I wanted to elaborate a little bit on this question. So when I originally created this question was more to explain how being Hispanic, sometimes our backgrounds, our parents' backgrounds coming from different countries, the educational system is different. Sometimes they don't go off into college and their mindsets are to go straight to work. So to a lot of Hispanics, college isn't an option, or university isn't an option. Going straight to work, making money for the family to provide is the option to go. So this year, with the higher rates in acceptance, we believe that maybe this is because more Hispanics are getting the knowledge for education that they weren't provided for before, meaning that programs are actually working and actually educating our Hispanics to go to a college or university. But thank you so much, Jesus. And for the last question is, tell us about your story and what shaped your identity as a Hispanic.
So I am actually a dreamer, as in I was brought in as a child, but I had no idea I was smuggled in, as one would say. Um, this happened like when I was like 1 year old. So basically, I grew up in in the United States for most of my life. Uh, as a child, I grew up with English speakers and Spanish speakers. So what that meant is when I entered school, I could speak full English and Spanish. Uh, and then that continued on. And then eventually I became a citizen. Before I entered college, I became a citizen of the United States. And so for me, the Hispanic heritage has shaped me in that I being able to speak two languages is a great benefit in the workplace, and also for myself, I've seen huge benefit in being an election officer. Uh, Bilingual election officers are in high demand, so I was easily so. And that just means that you help out the people who can only speak Spanish to give them directions on how to vote, or the people who, well, you have to know English to be able to vote, but sometimes some people are more comfortable with Spanish. So I help them with that. But the biggest thing, though, that Hispanic has done for me is that it's expanded me to a whole nother nation. I visit Mexico every once in a while to see my relatives, and I get to see a country and people who live very differently from the United States. Specifically, my family, they live in the mountains. It's it's nothing like anywhere around. It's nothing like San Jacinto or Hammett or anything like that. Living in the mountains means dirt roads, really limited space they can be in. Like it's one wrong step and you're off a cliff. Farming is a bit of a challenge as well. So I got to see a whole different nation because of my Hispanic heritage, and for that I am grateful.
Thank you so much, Jesus. And I'm so glad that you're in this country and you're helping other Hispanics. That really is something. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
All right, that is it. So thank you everyone for sharing your stories. That was the Talon.